Thank you very much, everyone. We're going to start the Strategy and Communication Services Committee. And on this committee is myself as the chair, Councillor Thiessen, Councillor Bosch, and Mayor Clayton. We'll call the order adoption of the agenda. Can I have someone to make a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Bosch. And we'll call for the vote.
Councillor Thiessen in favor.
All right, that carries unanimously. We have no delegations, but we have two reports. We have the service area update, item 4.1. Chief McEachran, can you lead us through that, please?
Thank you, Chair O'Toole. For the service area update today, I will start with intergovernmental affairs. The successful artist for the Treaty 8 monument call-out is Natessa Medicott Capo. Natessa comes from Sturgeon Lake First Nation and lived in Grande Prairie while attending Northwest Polytechnic for a visual arts and design diploma. Natessa specializes in sculpting and has developed an extensive portfolio. We're looking forward to working with Natessa to bring the Treaty 8 monument to life. City administration met with the Western Cree Tribal Council administration to discuss areas for potential collaboration. We both look forward to continuing to build that relationship. And lastly, the engagement for Bill 20 regulations kick off today. City administration is attending the engagement sessions to understand changes and provide input into the regulations. In corporate communications, various announcements were issued, including the city receiving federal funding for wayfinding trail signage, museum hosting Heritage Day on August 3rd, various construction updates, promotion for afternoon teas at Forbes Homestead, installation of the new lawn, bowling turf, and Sundays in the Park kickoff. The resident satisfaction survey project is now complete, and results will be presented to council later in July. For human resources, health and safety, our health and safety team have developed a critical incident response package. It's aimed to provide managers with the necessary information to support our employees through a critical incident with respect to psychological safety. And in employee development, the city's own Municipal Leadership Academy has opened its application for 2024 to 2025 session. From last year's participants of the Tier 2 cohort, we've seen almost 40% of these progress into different roles temporarily or permanently, or have been asked to participate in projects. In corporate marketing, the Canada Beer Garden saw a 25% increase in sales in 2024 over the inaugural licensed event in 2023. And the Eastlink Centre Triathlon had over 300 registrants, plus over 180 Kids of Steel registration. And lastly, just speaking to our city clerk's office, assessment review board hearings are underway with 78 appeals filed and 6 appeals heard already. Hearings will continue over the next several months. Our census continues into this month. As you're aware, we had hoped to wrap this up by the end of June, but we're doing a final push up until July 12th. At this point, we have 87% completion. We do need 90% completion for this to happen. To get to the 90% mark, we need 865 more dwellings to report for census. We are doing, as I mentioned, a final push. There is concern with this heat, having our enumerators out walking the streets with the heat. And I just remind anyone listening in, the enumerators are your neighbors. They are residents of Grande Prairie that are hired to do this. We want to protect them and keep them safe. So I encourage any residents who have not already completed their census to take your PIN, your unique PIN. You can go online and do it. It's 6 questions, less than 2 minutes. Or if you don't have the PIN or you need assistance, please call 311 and they will assist you to get through that. And with that, I can take any questions.
I see one. Councillor Michael Connor.
Yes, thank you for allowing me in, even though I'm not on this committee. It grieves me greatly that our census is not going to meet the numbers. So would you be able to let me know, Ms. McEachran, is what impacts will that have on us if we don't get to 90%? And people have a belief that their taxes are going to go up when it's the opposite is true. Can you confirm that, what the financial impact is if we're really a community of 85,000 and we only get 68 or 67 again, what financial impact will that make to the city?
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, it is. The census is the avenue for us to receive per capita funding, in particular from the province. So there is a number of funding sources that we get through the province that is based on what our population is. If we do not meet the 90%, that means that we fall back to a previous census from 2018. And we know that our population has most likely increased since then. So we would be leaving a large amount of money on the table, depending on what that funding source would be, what the project would be, et cetera. This is the exact opposite of raising our taxes. So if there is a number of services that we need to have for the city, for our residents, we want to be able to take the money that is available through funding sources with the province rather than having it come out of our municipal taxes. So it is quite important that residents assist us to get to that 90% so that we're able to maximize all of the funding that's available for us.
So, follow up?
You got one question in. Shouldn't you be happy?
Well, this is important because it
Go ahead.
could affect our income coming forward, and we could have a tax increase if we fall back to an older number. So I'm really concerned, how do we get people to understand that this doesn't directly affect them that way? We need to know how many people live in our community, and that could affect us in all different areas. Am I correct in this?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, you are correct. It is, the only impact to taxes is if we do not, I shouldn't say the only impact, the only negative impact to taxes would be if we do not reach the 90% mark, so that we are basing any funding in the future on our current population.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair O'Toole.
Thank you. And correct me if I'm wrong, the library system, it gets paid by per capita, correct? And also the tourism board.
Through the chair, Peace Library System, yes, is per capita. The local city library is based on a funding request.
Okay, thank you. You're good. All right. Thank you very much. A great report. And we were at the triathlon on the weekend. Councillor Bosch, or Councillor O'Connor and Councillor Thiessen and I handed out medals to the youth that were coming in. And when you see a 5-year-old doing a triathlon coming with a smile on his face or her face, it was pretty exhilarating and something that every parent or grandparent would like to see. So great event for sure. I see no other questions, so we'll move on to item 4.2, Indigenous relations, and if you could lead us through this as well.
Thank you, Chair. So I am going to turn this over to our Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, Roy Tarrant, and to Warren, our Indigenous Advisor. This is a progress update on our 2023 to 2025 Indigenous Relations Framework. And with that, I will pass it over to Mr. Tarrant.
Thank you, and through the chair. So before you today, you have a report looking at the 2023 to 25 Indigenous Relations Framework progress update. In April of last year, Council endorsed this framework, which identified a number of actions that the city would take to address the calls for truth and reconciliation and to further build relationships with the Indigenous community, whether those are our urban Indigenous neighbors or the First Nations that surround Grande Prairie. To that end, we've been quite busy in the past year with a number of initiatives which have been outlined in the report and in a variety of different topics that we've addressed. Important to note, we have indicated that there is a number of actions that we've deemed complete. However, that does not mean that they're done, finished, and we're putting them into a closet somewhere. A lot of those initiatives will continue on and continue to be built and further explored, and as those relationships have been established, continue to work on those and bear more fruit out of for the future. So with that, I'll look to questions. We have Warren Neckarak, our Indigenous Relations Advisor, here as well, who certainly is available to answer any questions on particular initiatives.
I just got one comment. I think that the amount that we have completed is speaks highly for itself. We're taking this serious. There are some things that are on this that are ongoing for sure and in progress, but it's a big step for the city to have a document like this, and so I congratulate this team that's doing this on a job well done so far. Thank you. And with that, is there any questions? I got one. Councillor Thiessen, please go ahead.
I don't got any questions. Probably comments that just echo yourself, Mr. Chair. This is a very valuable document, not only to, I think, council and to our First Nations community, but to the entire community as a whole. A lot of times we get asked as councillors, well, what are you doing about this issue, or what are you doing about that issue? What are you doing about truth and reconciliation? Well, we can now point them to this document and say, look, the gears are moving, things are happening. We as the city of Grande Prairie are becoming a leader as far as how we address the issues of the past and how we make better for the future. So thank you very much, Mr. Neckarak, for all the work that you've done in this, for the community that you've built, the bridges that you've built between the First Nations community and the city of Grande Prairie. I know it's going a long way. Just a question popped in my head. So we got 11 out of 29 completed actions, still moving forward. We got 18 more. What's the biggest one? What's the one that you would like to knock off that list? Now, I know there's 18 other ones, but out of those 18, which one would you like to knock off the list? No pressure. I have my own, but I think it's about 10 years in the future when I'm going to get that done. But
yeah, no pressure at all with that one. Thank you for the great question through the chair. I really appreciate the feedback we're receiving here. I think one of the biggest things that we've been able to do is build the relationship through the events, like bring the POW to Grande Prairie. That was huge. Having the chiefs, the councillors come into the community and really fostering conversations to connect and discuss what do they see as far as reconciliation goes. Really hearing those voices is, I think, the way we need to continue to advance these initiatives. So bringing them in and just hearing them out, that's where I like to see things happening.
I think we all do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report. Really good. I concur that the powwow was awesome. It's nice to see. So good work on that. My question is regarding the city spaces and city facilities. This is your in process ongoing. Is there some sort of update that you can give on, other than the ice arenas and probably at the museum, if I remember correctly? What are we looking like as far as city-owned facilities and where we are with allowing, smudging or ceremonies or faith practices, things like that?
Another wonderful question. Thank you through the chair. Well, we still have some work to do as far as being able to smudge in many city facilities. our process and due diligence in that. One of the things that we can celebrate that I don't know if was mentioned in here, but we recently got the land acknowledgement put up in the lobby of the City Hall. So if you haven't seen that yet, there's a good opportunity to come see that. It's written on a birch bark scroll and some Indigenous artwork there. Is there anything else?
If I may, through the chair, so that is something we've identified. We have an assessment of all the city facilities and looked at opportunities for us to include more Indigenous culture, as well as reviewing some of the policies. So there is, quite a few facilities now that smudging is able to take part in. Some of the other ones that we've looked at doing, there are some limitations in terms of the physical facility, and air ventilation and whatnot. So we've through a few of those, we've looked at several options, and we'll continue to explore those. But we are happy where that some of the key facilities are able to do the smudging there. And as Warren mentioned, we've identified places that so we have a partnership with the art gallery who have a large Indigenous art collection, and we've identified locations for that art to be displayed. Obviously, the City Hall here is one with the birch bark, which we set up, and then the art that's surrounding it that we received from the art gallery. We did hang some flags in the design works, but we're also looking at a number of other facilities in terms of addition of art, as well as mural touch-ups and some things like that. So
It's good. I asked that question because publicly people want to know where to go to see what's happening, and the ability to come to that space and have a ceremony or a funeral or what it may be, right? So, yeah, thanks. I look forward to seeing what happens in the future with this. Thanks.
When it comes to facilities that allow smudging, are we below average right now with other communities, or are we ahead of the schedule throughout the province?
Through the chair, thank you. I think everybody's at their own level and tackling things at their own pace. There's no linear way of what reconciliation looks like. So I think some have tackled that earlier on, some have waited till later on. But I do know some municipalities are doing just testing in their systems to find out if the smoke is affecting fire alarms and such things like that. So I think we're doing pretty well. Having a pipe ceremony here in council chambers, I think, was a big leap forward for our municipality here in Alberta. So, yeah, I think we're probably falling in that about average in there.
Well, like I said before, I think we're doing we're making heaps and bounds. We're going ahead at this point. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to receive your report.
Is there a question?
No. We're done. Keep going.
Okay. Sorry, Mike.
You're not on the committee, sir.
I move committee receive their report for information. Thank you. Sir?
Okay, that is good. So we'll call for the vote. And that carries unanimously. We have no correspondence, other business, bylaw policy reviews, and we'll look for a motion to accept the outstanding items list as presented.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I know. Committee receives the July 9th outstanding items list as presented for information.
I'll call for the vote. And that carries. And with that, I thank you all for attending the Strategy and Communication Services Committee. Thank you.